I'm gonna need you to say that again, if you don't mind. No, I was listening the first time and I registered most of it. It's just when you said that you had something important to talk to me about. You said it so seriously and your expression, you looked terrified. I thought that something had happened. I thought someone had hurt you or something. I didn't think that you would be telling me this. I just need you to say it again, because all I could focus on when you said it the first time was that nothing bad had happened. That I didn't need to be so scared for you. That I didn't need to worry about trying to stick up for you the next time that something bad happened. I didn't realize anything beyond the fact that you're okay. That you weren't so distant toward me recently because you didn't want to be my friend anymore. That was all I was able to think about, so I need you to say it again. You're not a boy or a girl. You don't feel like either. You don't feel like both. You feel different. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing. It's just... God, you had me so scared. I was afraid that you wanted to break off our friendship. I was scared that someone had hurt you. I was scared that you were going to tell me your parents did decide to move out of town after all, and I was never going to see you again. I thought... I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry. My mom, she explained all of this to me, so I understand why you were so scared. I understand why you were so serious about it. I understand that my laughing is probably not helping, but I am just so glad that it wasn't anything bad. I don't think that it's anything bad. You're not hurt. You're not leaving. You don't want to break off our friendship. You wanted to tell me how you feel. And how you feel is that you identify as someone who isn't a boy or a girl. That is... No. I wasn't going to say it's nothing. I was going to say it isn't anything like what I was worried about. I am so proud of you for figuring this out about yourself. I am so proud of you for being able to tell me. And I'm really, really glad that you told me. I'm really glad that you trust me enough to tell me this. So, does this mean that you're non-binary? Huh? You don't know what that means? Oh, no. Did your parents never have this discussion with you? Did you never get it in school? I know that around that age, you and I were in different school districts, so we learned different things, but did they not talk about this at all? Oh boy. Okay. No, that isn't a bad thing. It just means that, I can try to explain what I was saying and why I was saying it. Just, it probably won't be the best explanation. So, you know binary code, right? We talked about it one day when we were playing video games and we got to talking about different styles of coding. So you know binary, right? Exactly. The ones and the zeros. 1, 0. Only 2 numbers ever. So, when it comes to gender, you at least know the difference between gender and sex, right? Okay, good. And then I'm guessing, do you know what transgender means? Right. Not identifying with the gender that you were assigned at birth based on your sex. And you know that people who do have a brain between their ears, they do believe that there's nothing wrong with being transgender and that your gender doesn't have to be defined by your sex. Yes, I am very fortunate to have a brain between my ears. But, point being, you know those things. So that's good. So, non-binary is a trans identity. There are some people who don't see it that way, which, honestly, that is a bit ignorant. I mean, once again, you're not identifying with the gender that you were assigned at birth based on your sex. So, it is a trans identity. But anyway, being non-binary means that you don't identify strictly as one or the other. You're not simply a 1 or a 0. You're not simply male or female. Now, there are a lot of different non-binary identities. Being non-binary, it is another umbrella term. So for you, if you don't identify as either a boy or a girl, I do want to ask, do you sometimes identify as one, then the other, then something different? No? Okay, then I'm guessing you're not gender fluid. That's where sometimes you feel more like one gender, then another, then a different one. At least, that's the explanation that I heard. Granted, it's different for everyone. Gender is so much more than can be defined. After all, I like to think of it as gender is the way your soul expresses itself, you know? Yeah, exactly. Kind of like something magical. Like, your sex is just what your body is, and then gender, I mean, the brain, we've talked about this. It is such a fascinating thing. There's so much about it that we don't know. Even if souls themselves don't exist, your brain, how can that be defined solely based on what the rest of your body looks like? How can that complex system be defined simply based on how your body looks? I know, I'm going off on a tangent, but can you blame me? A lot of the arguments against transgender identities are based in science, and I don't mean to brag, but I'm always the one with the highest science scores in classes. So, this is kind of a big deal for me. I know, there's more to be explained. Sorry about that. But the point is, there are several different non-binary identities. Based on what you're telling me, I'm guessing you're just strictly non-binary? What I mean is, do you prefer to go by they, them? That's what I thought. So that type of identity is just a general non-binary identity. There are some people who are demi-girls and demi-boys. So a demi-girl might go by she, they. Granted, again, it is different for everybody, but that is the explanation I've heard. And a demi-boy, again, he, they. And once again, I will keep saying this the entire time, but it is different for everybody. Like I said, it's impossible to define gender completely. It's impossible to define gender accurately. Kind of like it's impossible to define... What's the word I'm looking for? Yes, exactly. It is impossible to define a standard for what is good when it comes to something like art or any sort of media, really. You can't say that something is objectively bad or good because everyone's opinions are different. Just like gender. Exactly. Even a person's expression of a gender that they share with another person could be completely different. That's why you'll have tomboys, people who identify as girls but still dress and act stereotypically boyish. Everyone's expression is different. Even if they're cisgender, they can still have extremely different gender expression than what might be expected. So what you're telling me, I believe, means that you would be just generally non-binary. The other identities, well, the ones I know of anyway, are bigender, gender fluid, there is demi-boy, demi-girl, we went over that, and then there's trans male, trans female, cis male, and cis female. So, cisgender, you know that one, right? You went over transgender, so I'm guessing you know that? Yes, exactly. Identifying with the gender that you were assigned at birth based on your sex. So that, nothing wrong with that, just like there's nothing wrong with being transgender. So long as everyone is being respected and is being respectful, what's the problem? Yeah, I do get a little bit worked up about this stuff. I'm comfortable with he, they pronouns, actually. Not to mention, again, the science aspect of it. Anyway, yeah, I don't know, it isn't that I identify as something different than a boy, it's just, I don't know, I don't really mind what pronouns people use for me. As long as they're being respectful when talking to me, I kind of don't care. Granted, that isn't to say that it's bad for someone to care about what pronouns are used. Absolutely not. I'm fortunate enough that I don't care. It doesn't bother me what pronouns someone uses, and that is a very fortunate thing because people can be real jerks. But anyway. Yeah, I don't know what you expected from me when you decided to tell me about this, but you know I love science, and all of this stuff is entirely backed up by science, and then you'll have people saying, oh, it's not natural. Look at fish. Look at seahorses. Are you telling me that that is not something extremely queer? Fish can change their sex in order to keep the ratio of males to females more balanced. Seahorses, the males get pregnant instead of the females. And penguins? There have been gay penguins in aquariums that adopt motherless eggs. And they raise the chicks as their own. Are you telling me that this isn't natural? Okay, you don't know science. Yeah, I know. I could rant about this all day long. I could, but I'm guessing that you'd rather talk about something else now that all of the stress has passed. Yeah, I get that. So, since we are realizing that you are non-binary, how about we see if you disintegrate into nothing if we work on some binary code? Yep. Even when you don't identify as either male or female, you're still going to be a victim of pointlessly gendered things. And a lot of jokes. I won't lie. You're going to have to deal with a lot of my jokes. Because, now I know that you understand them. Yep. I'm going to be a whole new level of insufferable now. This is what you get. Maybe you were right to be a little hesitant about telling me this after all. But too late now.